Life in a world full of unexpected turns. In a world full of unexpected turns of events, our emotions can often get in the way of things. In reality, we don't really get sad because bad things happen to us. We get sad because unexpected bad things happen to us. Rain is a good thing. It helps water our plants, provides water for livestock, and keeps the temperature cool and humid. But the truth is, when that dark cloud catches you outside without an umbrella, it's never a good experience. So why don't we start crying once it begins to rain? It's because, although the situation is bad, we've learned to expect rain. It's something unavoidable. We can't control the weather. Although it sucks, the rain passes and the light returns. Stoicism teaches us that in the same way, we should expect that everything bad that can happen will happen. Picture the worst outcome and be content knowing it could happen. One of the Stoic exercises is known as voluntary discomfort, an exercise aimed at increasing feelings of gratitude. Sleeping on the floor of your kitchen, taking cold showers when you normally take hot ones, eating nothing but potatoes for a few days. Things like this. This exercise helps you understand that no matter how hard it gets, you'll still survive and potentially thrive if your mindset is right. By being able to withstand uncomfortable situations, we indirectly prepare our minds for future misfortunes. With the current state of the world, where advertisements are constantly shoved down our throats, we're made to believe that if we don't have the next best thing, look a certain way, or make a certain amount of money, we will never be happy. This message is more important now than ever. We enter the world not knowing much of anything. We grow up being taught things at home, in school, and by observing the world for ourselves. The thing is, a lot of times all three of these sources of knowledge teach us in different ways. The question is, do we need to internalize all of this knowledge? If we do, we could unknowingly be setting unrealistic expectations for our lives, ultimately leaving us disappointed and unsatisfied. That's no way to live. Instead, we should focus on improving ourselves, for ourselves. We should do things for ourselves and only for that reason. Attaching any external hope or secondary attachment to the actions we take almost always leads to disappointment. Most of the time, we end up trying to fulfill that emptiness with external things, blowing all our money on a fancy car, a house, or even starting a family. Sometimes we do all of these things for their external value and not their internal value. But Stoicism teaches that if you approach life this way, you place your happiness in the hands of external forces, forces that can always fail. Cars almost always break down. Natural disasters wipe away entire cities, and divorce rates climb higher each year. But even the free things in life come at a cost. The cost of space, both physical and mental. As Seneca once wrote, "Learning to live with less will create space in your life for the things that truly matter to you." Instead, we must place our happiness on our intrinsic value as humans, not on anything we have or can physically acquire. We must choose to do our best to keep a cool head, regardless of what life throws at us. Because regardless of what it is, we don't have control over most things that happen to us, but we do have control over how we respond, control over how we react to those things. That is the dichotomy of control, the most important principle in Stoic philosophy. Stoics teach that we must learn to separate what we can control from what we cannot control. We need to determine our value not from things we can't control, but from the things we can. Striving toward goals is a good trait, but breaking down when things don't go your way is, from a Stoic's point of view, useless. Making YouTube videos is much easier than being a Roman emperor, but it can still prove to be challenging sometimes. First, you must form your idea, which takes forever. Then, you research that idea, scrap it because it sucks, and start over. After that, you script the video, create the video, edit it, make the title, thumbnail, and everything else before you hit upload. Everything up until the point where you click upload is all up to you. However, once you click that upload button, the power shifts to the YouTube algorithm. Still, a lot of people judge the success of their YouTube channel or Instagram account based on how many views, subscribers, or followers they have, metrics that, for the most part, are beyond your control. Stoics teach that, instead, you should judge the success of your work based on the effort you put in, not on the outcome of your external hopes. Trust the process. Think about a person who has been working hard at their job for the past 6 months. He now feels he deserves a promotion and walks up to his boss with a performance report. The boss says thanks but doesn't grant him the promotion. He goes home thinking he must suck at his job. He doesn't consider that the boss might have simply woken up angry. Someone else might have been better qualified at the time. Or maybe the company was just losing money and couldn't afford it. He doesn't know the reason, but he's still upset. If he had simply placed his value on the quality of the performance report he turned in and kept doing what he was doing to earn the promotion he wanted, he could have been much happier overall. With the right perspective, his goal wouldn't have been diminished, just postponed. It's this reframing of your mindset that is crucial. A true Stoic does not view their successes based on the financial gain of their ventures, but is comforted by the fact that they can live a comfortable life without all the things money can buy. These are the 4 main virtues of Stoicism: wisdom, courage, temperance, and justice. Wisdom is the ability to separate between what is internal and what is external, and the ability to choose our reaction to the things that happen to us. As Viktor Frankl said, between stimulus and response, there is a space, and that space is our power to choose our response. Courage can be summed up in 2 words: persist and resist. Temperance or moderation is what I just did there, doing more with less, saying more with fewer words. While Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk are fighting at the top of the Forbes list, Stoics believe that the limit of wealth should simply be having what is essential and then having what is enough. Justice is the most important of all the virtues. It instructs that no one should do harm to another because we were all born for each other, to do good to one another and not just to ourselves. Nelson Mandela was one of the most famous African leaders in the world. While fighting against apartheid, he was sentenced to life imprisonment, where he stayed for 27 years before finally being released. When he was released from prison, he was elected president of South Africa. Many people thought he was going to brutally punish all those who had anything to do with apartheid or his imprisonment. But of course he did not. Throughout his time in prison, Mandela read the works of Marcus Aurelius and learned many of the core values of Stoicism, all of which he practiced throughout his life. Instead of calling for the heads of the wrongdoers, Mandela urged his people to seek the opposite, to relax and rebuild. He stressed that the past was beyond their control and that the only thing they could do was find a way to move forward and build a better nation. This is the way of the Stoic. In modern-day medicine, Stoicism is at the core of procedures like rational emotive behavioral therapy, REBT, and logotherapy. REBT helps patients identify negative thought patterns that might be causing emotional and behavioral issues. It allows you to challenge the reasoning behind these negative thoughts with logic, and when you realize that many of them are unfounded, you can replace them with more productive and healthier beliefs. Logotherapy, on the other hand, is based on the Stoic principle that humans are driven by purpose. Even in the darkest situations, we can fill our lives with meaning and happiness by simply finding out what that purpose is. As many of us know, though, this is easier said than done. It's a process, much like everything else. We have to rewire the way we think, out with the old, in with the new. To fix our problems with happiness, we must practice this process by redirecting our definition of value to the things that we can control. We can stop getting fixated on things we cannot control, and overall, we can lead a much happier and more fulfilling life. Stoicism helps us steer through past and present storms into calmer and more peaceful waters. And if our ship sinks and we all drown, we can take peace in the fact that we lived a good life, albeit not as long as we had hoped. Because remember, everything has its end.